devastated.
U.S. medical therapist Katherine Maso shares her near-death experience from 1974. Katherine, 7, was the youngest of 8 children. A hurricane had just passed, and school was canceled that Monday. She and her brother, 4 years older, rode a bicycle to the neighborhood store, as they often did, with Kathy sitting on the handlebars. It was a beautiful post-storm day, partly cloudy and sunny with rainbows in the sky. But after leaving the store, a teenage driver hit them at 60 miles or 96 kilometers per hour. Their bodies flew 20 feet or 6 meters. Katherine didn't feel the impact. Instead, she suddenly found herself floating high above at the height of telephone poles, looking down at the crash scene. A small broken blonde girl lay below. Surprised, she realized it was herself. She viewed the whole scene like watching a movie from a familiar place, one she felt she had been to before and would visit again. Behind her, over her right shoulder, was a radiant being of light and color, emanating warmth and love. It felt alive and intelligent, like God or Lord Jesus, vegetarian. Though she never turned to look directly, its light made everything below seem black and white in comparison. The being silently watched with her. A man knelt beside her body. He wanted to help, but did not know how. Katherine sensed his empathy and read his thoughts. He debated whether to pray, start CPR or cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or blow air into her mouth. Blood pooled around her head like a living essence. None of this upset Katherine. She felt no pain. She only felt sorry for the man who waited for the ambulance to arrive. Curious what had happened to her, Katherine's attention shifted instantly to the teenage girl who hit them. The girl leaned over the hood of her car, crying, terrified of the trouble she was in, and heartbroken for what she'd done. Katherine felt her regret as clearly as her own thoughts. Then she heard someone call her sister Terry to come to her. Terry, 7 years older and her childhood hero, had always protected her. Katherine saw her own mangled body below, her leg bent backward and lips moving, calling out Terry's name, though she didn't recall speaking. Thinking of Terry instantly pulled her awareness to her sister's location. Terry stood with a group of girls. She told them she could not go to Katherine. It was too much. At 14, she was overwhelmed by responsibility, helping raise 6 brothers, cleaning and supporting their exhausted mother. Katherine then saw deeper. Terry felt ashamed of attending private school in used uniforms, as her parents struggled financially. Her brothers were rough like Dukes of Hazzard TV show characters, known for bad behavior, which embarrassed Terry as a rule follower. Terry resented Katherine for being the baby who escaped chores like laundry and dishes. She carried guilt from her heavy role and fear that one of her brothers might die from their antics. Now, with her little sister possibly dying, it broke her. Katherine felt all this and gained unconditional love for Terry. It bonded them forever, despite different paths later in life. Thinking of her mother instantly shifted Katherine's view again. She saw her mother as a young woman of 35, raising 8 children without rest, never seen in pajamas, always awake and caring. Katherine perceived truths no child could know. Her mother's shame over marrying young, her family's partial rejection, and the quiet strength she carried. Beside the being, Katherine was shown a vision. A field of thorny wildflowers in many colors, and among them a single pure white flower, her mother, overlooked yet noble and good. It surprised Katherine. Then Katherine saw her mother again, pale and frantic, begging bystanders for help as Katherine's lips turned blue from lack of oxygen. No ambulance had arrived yet. Katherine knew that if she died, her mother would break. She saw a vision of her mother's exhausted arms holding her as an infant, still radiating love despite everything. The being gave Katherine a choice: return to that life or go home, where she came from and would return someday. It felt like leaving a movie theater after watching a film she had somehow created. Because of her mother's love and exhaustion, Katherine chose to go back. The moment she thought it, she returned with the being. The being communicated softly, not in words, but understanding.
Guard your thoughts. They shape your life. Be careful what you think.
It said this because Katherine had just marveled at how fun it was to shift location by thought alone, and the instant she wished to return, she did. Katherine found herself back in her body, staring at the hospital ceiling. Her mind felt pure and still, free of all mental noise, filled only with energy and peace. The doctors were astonished. Despite the violent accident, Katherine had no internal injuries.
I remember seeing a mangled little girl. I had a big scar on my forehead, and I walked away from that accident without a scratch. My brother was in a body cast for, 4 months. He had so many broken legs, and they were baffled about how I just didn't have any scratches. I honestly believe with the breath that brought me back into my body that I was somehow healed.
Insightful quote of the day: if we command our wealth, we shall be rich and free. If our wealth commands us, we are poor indeed. The Right Honorable Edmund Burke, Anglo-Irish statesman and philosopher.
For more relevant news from around our planet, please visit suprememastertv.com/news.